BattleTech Flashpoint. Welcome back. This is BattleTech Flashpoint, the final wrap-up. We did the last mission today, and now I want to show you... I just played through the rest of the campaign really quickly. A couple days. And I wanted to show you where I ended up. So first, let's take a look at the scoring. I have a 909 on the Merc rating board. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to the career line to see how I can max things out. Obviously, getting more cash, I could have done that maybe. One of the things I did note was mech chassis. The completion here is for if you collect one of each unique classes in the game for each of the weight classes, you can get points. And I was selling those things off left and right, so I might have wanted to save save those, just stuck them in the storage rather than selling them all off. Even though I did come out at $3,000 in the end, I think you could probably do better if you just stuck in the heavier weight classes. But I came down into the free planets to try to pick up the lightweight mechs to see if I could complete a class, and I didn't quite do it. But we'll see where I got. Also, you could, if you track all of the star systems that you've gone to, you can get these points. As I remember from a blog post by Harebrained Schemes, this is doable but not easy. So you really kind of have to make an intentional effort to hit each and every star system to get that. Positive and negative reputation, so you can get a lot of points for being negative. So actually when you've allied with somebody, you can max the stuff out here, and I wasn't paying attention to that. So there's another area you can look at. Of course, Argo completion upgrades, morale being top, get max points for that, and the board. Completing the board, which I did, gives you points, and then giving you max reputation, which I think is 1,000, is the next. So there's the points. I did break my alliance that I had in an attempt to generate a few other missions, but that didn't work out so well for me. So yeah, if you get to get an alliance, you might as well keep it going. I was looking for more parts. Mech Bay, my ending group, which is the top here, I was taking in the two Cyclopses, the Stalker and the Wolverine. The Cyclops Z had the battle computer in it, which gave me the +1 initiative across the board. This is really quite nice. Really, it's a game changer for all of its purposes. And of course, I did keep doing upgrades, so I got triple pluses most of everything here. I went to double plus lasers instead of triple plus medium lasers because I wanted the extra damage rather than the crit and accuracy. That seemed to work out a little bit better for me. And I didn't find any more double heat sinks. None. So I know you can find some of that stuff if you go to Lost Tech worlds, or worlds that have, the old Star League era stuff there. And sometimes you can find it as a rare, but didn't find anything for me. So this particular machine worked out pretty well. It wasn't the hitter I was kind of hoping it to be, but it was hard enough. And of course, the battle computer in it made it pretty decent. And the fact that it's a heavy allowed it to, or an assault allowed it to really stand. I think only one fight did I end up losing an arm, and even in that case, there was nothing in the arm, so it didn't really matter. Here we've got the triple plus comm system up there, which was really handy. I got a heat exchange in pretty much all the three assault mechs. I think in one case it was still worth 6 points, but in the other two it was worth 7. So it was 1 point better than having the 2 heat sinks, which this is worth. The other thing though is that this is not impacted by environment. So if I'm on a desert planet, it seems to work out pretty well. So that's why I was doing that. I did get I think one more SRM6 triple plus, which I got in here. I was still going for damage, and I got some hit defense in there. This was a solid mech. I could go in and do a target shot on something and do some serious damage. Stalker. This turned out to be a real star. I loved this mech. Having an artillery piece in the back really helps, especially like base captures, base defenses. This was also quite good for targeted shots. It was throwing 70 missiles, and as you can see, I had damage across the board on most of these things. So it wasn't necessarily knocking things over as much. So that might have been a balance, in that if I could knock things over just a little bit more, I could save on the precision strike, because once it's down, you get the precision strike. But this worked out really well for me. And you notice I don't have any targeting in any of these things. I didn't need them. In the vanilla base of BattleTech, your evasion gets only up to, I guess, to a maximum, and then it just stops. I did notice in the end, though, there was a couple of times I ran into spiders that were maxing out their evasion and sitting on top of the blue crystal stuff. And man, talk about having an issue to hit. It felt like it was back in Rogue Tech. But yeah, this was a pretty decent mech. I liked the build out for that. It seems simple, straightforward, hits like a truck. Last was my my scout. I would have preferred to have found a heavy that worked for me, but I was unwilling to really invest the time for the remainder of this game to find a better heavy. The Wolverine was solid. It can take a number of hits. With the jump jets, it really could get around. It had 5 jump jets, so it could really make some decent distance on the jump jets. I had a max rangefinder on it too, so it really made a good difference, plus the 3 hit defense on it. So his evasion, the hit defense and stuff made it so he really wasn't taking a lot of damage. And I did find myself in a number of cases where the LRMs with the stability damage were just pushing things over for me. So I get everything to a point where they were unsteady. Because you have to make a mech unsteady first before you can knock it down. So you cannot knock down a mech in a single volley. You have to do double shots to knock down a mech. So one mech has to get it to the point where it's unsteady. Then the second mech can knock it over. And there was a number of times where I had, with the stalker, knock somebody to the point where they were unsteady. And then I just had the scout drop in and push them over. And then I left the other 2 guys to come in and execute. So it worked out pretty well. So I like this mech in general for a scout. Really good solid mech. Let's go in here and take a look at my remaining storage. I'm going to whip down the bottom here. So I did pick up quite a few. I got all the locusts. I got both of the commandos. I had actually no, sell that piece off. Scrap it. So I had both the commandos, the spider, a panther, a jenner, D, which was good. I did not get the cicadas. I think I had a cicada at some point, but the 2 cicadas I think were the only thing keeping me from maxing out the meat. Well, actually, wait, what did I miss on the lights? It looks like I have all the lights. Why didn't I get a light? Spider, panther, jenner. I think I have all the lights, don't I? I must be missing something, because it didn't give me the points for it. On the medium side, again, I did pretty well. A crab and a centurion. I think I was light on. I think I had a centurion at one point. I definitely had enforcer. I'd had hunchbacks, so I think I could have had this if I had saved my points. But I had quite a collection there. And the heavies, I obviously had the Orions. I just picked up another Black Knight as the end of my career. Gave me an award for that. I was, as for a final career reward, I would have hoped for something more. I mean, that basically is the end of the game for the career. Well, I don't know why they wouldn't have given you something a little bit nicer than that. I also want to talk about another reward that we got that was worthless. But there we go. Get up the assault. I almost got an Atlas. I did run into one more Atlas in my higher end skull plays. And I got one part off of him. But yeah, didn't get anything else. This is a shame. The Highlander was in there, but I was hoping to get something else that was kind of heavy. I did create a Banshee. I don't think I left it in here, did I? No, I did. I did create a Banshee build for just going in for melee. It's got a quirk for it, so I was kind of curious to see what it was like. So if you look at the melee here, you'll see that there's a 35-point quirk. I got it up to 215 by putting in these 40 damage. I think that I could get 60 damage in here, so but I can up this another 40 points, another 45 points. So I think that'll be about max, is another 45 points on that. Still, that would be hitting at what, 260? single spot 260 points of damage. That wouldn't quite take me out unless I hit it from the rear. But damn near take out any point. Oh, well, actually, it would take out an arm. If I hit an arm, it would blow out an arm. Still a good hit. But I wanted to see what that would look like, and here we go. A lot of small lasers for the point blank. The thing I wanted to talk about, though, is over here in weapons, we picked up in the ballistics category Gauss rifle. Now, what I didn't note at the time is I think when you pick up the Gauss rifle, there is also a Gauss ammo option there, and I should have picked it, and I didn't, to make this viable. But even if I had picked it, it's really not worth. It's not worth it. I mean, it's low heat, which is nice. There's a few other things about it too. Let's get to somebody who can actually look at it, or maybe we'll get out here and take a look at our components instead. There we go. We'll go into components, come back here down to the Gauss rifle. There we go. So it's worth 75 points. It doesn't have recoil, which is decent, but it's still, 75 points is good. 40 stability, and the range is quite good. It goes out to 660 for a max, and I think what is 660? What's an AC2? 720. So it's a little bit better than an AC5. You can get up to a max though here if you look at my AC5s. Get 55 points off of an AC5 or 65 off of a base. Actually, I get 70 out of an AC10. 12 tons. Let's go back down here. So that's 12 tons and 3 slots. This is 13 tons and 5 slots for a little bit more. I think, for the purposes of the game, Gauss rifle it's not as good as it could be. I mean, in BattleTech, Gauss rifles are pretty good. But in this game, in base vanilla, it just feels like they put it in at the end and didn't realize they boosted everything else up, and so they kind of left the Gauss rifle. I mean, for a lost tech weapon that explodes if it gets critted, so you have a chance to lose it. It's hard to find. It feels like it should be a little bit better than this, and I don't know how they might want to deal with that. But I think the best thing about it is probably the heat. You get pretty close. You could do dual AC5s, be very close. That's 16 instead of 15, 4 slots instead of 5. So, I mean, you could get more damage throwing a pair of AC5s with about 10 more heat than you can with a Gauss rifle. Though, of course, the Gauss rifle gives you single point damage. So, I'm not a fan. I would have been nice to throw it on something just to see it play around with it, but it didn't work out so well for me. But that's the stuff. If we go back into the barracks, I did end up with one more pilot. He came up with a special. There he is. Test 9 came up with a special event that I had. So I said, "Sure, come on, jump on in. You can be part of the crew." There you go. Get yourself some overheat. But everybody else maxed out, so I have 10s across the board on all those guys. Worked out pretty well. So, and then of course the engineering, I had the maxed upgrades for the ship. And that worked out fine. And as far as my pay goes, I was up there and I just, all I have to do is not do, actually this flipped on me. It went to extravagant. It shouldn't have been. It should be at generous. Generous gives you a +1. And the nice thing about that is if you have any kind of a special event that occurs, it will self-correct, basically. So I was constantly running it at 50 morale throughout the game in the latter parts. Worked out pretty well. So that's my run of BattleTech Flashpoint. I'm going to go ahead and mod out to Rogue Tech and then start recording that. You're going to see Rogue Tech start much earlier than this point because I had to pre-record for travel reasons. And so at this point, when you see this, I'll be back, and so I don't mind saying, "Hey, I went on a trip." I don't like to announce the fact I'm going on a trip before I actually go on it, because those guys down in L.A. picking people up and robbing their place. So, thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.
Creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go with the windows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild. in the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a